My grandmother doesn't need a eulogy. Her life was a sermon. And it was a mighty testament to the power of faith and to the power of a deep and determined love. And she lived this public love story that we all know of, that has inspired the world, including in these last days.
Fond memories of a long life filled with service and so much love. Today, the Carter family, longtime friends, and even current and former presidents and first ladies gathered on Emory University's campus to remember the legacy of Mrs. Rosalynn Carter. Good evening. I'm Jonathan Martin.
And I'm Jennifer Bellamy. Tonight, Mrs. Carter's casket is returning to the Carters' small hometown of Plains, Georgia. That's in preparation for a private funeral tomorrow. But today's memorial service was an event for the nation to watch as hundreds gathered together to pay tribute to the former First Lady. 3 presidents under one roof, as well as 5 First Ladies of the United States with whom Mrs. Carter shared a special bond, all there to remember the way she reshaped the White House and the world. 11 Alive's Joe Ripley joining us now live tonight from Glen Memorial Church with a closer look at today's service.
Yeah, you know, the connection between the Carters, both Jimmy and Rosalynn, and Emory goes back such a long way, over 40 years, in fact. And so there are around 800 guests inside Glen Memorial Church, all to pay their respects to a woman seen and heralded as a wife, a mother, a grandmother, a first lady, and a humanitarian. You heard just a moment ago from one of her grandsons, Jason Carter. Simply put, Rosalynn Carter's life was a sermon.
And give thanks for the life of Rosalynn Smith Carter.
My mother was the glue that held our family together.
Without Rosalynn Carter, I don't believe there would have been a President Carter.
She poured out her love all over the world, and it saved lives, including in my own family.
My mom spent most of her life in love with my dad. This is from a letter he wrote 75 years ago while he was serving in the Navy. But when I see you, I fall in love with you all over again. Does that seem strange to you? It doesn't to me. Goodbye, darling. Until tomorrow. Jimmy.
And you know, in some of the tributes we heard today, they praised Mrs. Carter for her groundedness, her self-assurance, her genuine character and nature. You know, among all of those we saw in there today, we had presidents, former and current, as well as first ladies. Mrs. Carter preferred to be around people in need. And now, as she makes her way back to Plains, she'll be around those who knew and loved her.